Hello, check one. And we are live once again from SRC Summit 2023 April Hall Show here in Denton, Texas. And I have two of the most beautiful people in this building with me. I have the famous.
Tim Brown, Hook Agency. I do have an announcement real quick before we get into this.
Oh, shit.
Oh God!
I got.
What, you've become
It's
a
gonna
chip,
be
Don't
shirtless.
take off the
You
extra
became a
one. Don't
chip-
take off too many.
Chippendale over.
The announcement is that I'm wearing an Ascend shirt.
Oh, okay.
Ascend-
And he showed a little skin. As
Yes,
well.
he did.
And a little
I
nipple,
thought he was going
right?
to tell us that he joined the Chippendales down here in
Yeah.
Texas. Why? Yes. There you
If our
go.
flight gets canceled tomorrow, he might have to because we're never getting home. So
Yeah, it's very icy down here. I know a lot of people. We should introduce Sydnee.
I'm Sydnee Olsen, also Hook Agency.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
And
Nice to
we're-
meet you.
We're talking a little bit about roofing today, but we're talking about other stuff too. Like, and ultimately, one thing is, I saw somebody saying the ice storm. Look, they're like, we have that every week here in Colorado, and I'm like, what you're not seeing is like it's literally like ice, straight up ice, this thick here in Denton, Texas. That literally you go. We went to Waffle House last night. Great establishment, by the way. This Denton.
Very
Waffle
nice
House.
servers as well.
Loved it. The chili's good.
Great chili. Bert's chili.
But I got out the door and I was like slipping all the way to the car. So it's actually a legitimate thing. And we're used to this stuff, but not
Right.
that thick of.
No, and see, the thing is, the difference is they don't have the resources here like you or I would
Yeah.
have up north.
Exactly.
That's the difference. Yeah, we see it every week in Colorado, but yeah, you have salt spreaders, plow trucks, and the resources and funding.
and people that know how to
for
drive
that.
in that
Yeah,
weather.
that they allow each year for things like this to happen. Well, Texas is not one of those places that normally experience a 1-inch thick sheet of ice on everything.
If I would have
Right.
known, I would have been a lot more careful. I drove all the way over here and I didn't actually go on the ice yet with my feet. But once I went on the ice with my feet, I'm like, I don't want to drive back to the airport tomorrow. It's crazy.
I did tell Tim he just had a baby a couple months ago, which I'm sure everybody knows.
Mhm.
But I said in the
Very
car,
small.
I'm glad that you have this baby now because I feel like you're going to drive a little bit safer on the ice than if it were just me in the car.
Because it's true. I don't really care. Like, other than that, I don't really care about my life.
So, according to you, has it helped?
Yes.
It has?
I would say
You
that
see
I
a
was
difference?
white knuckled on the door the whole time. And I kept saying, remember, it's icy. Remember, there's not salt on the roads. But he did remember.
Okay.
And we did go pretty slow.
It was terrifying.
Yes. Yes. You know, as we get older, those are things that we have to start thinking
Yeah, you
about.
have
and
to
worrying
stay
about.
alive.
Yeah, it's not just us anymore. There are people
Yeah.
that rely on us today, believe it or not.
Because I'm guessing you've been like that at your point at your life at some point. You're
Yes.
like, I don't really care that much.
Right. Right. Well, and I think that, okay, so yes, I still suffer from what you suffer from too
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
Like, and for a good example is we were out in Utah the week before Christmas and we rented UTVs.
Mm.
And like something happened to me, like a switch went off where I became 21 years old again. So we had those things maxed out and going as fast as they possibly could. And there's other people in the vehicle with me. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I wasn't the first one to flip it, but then I thought, dude, this is really cool. Right.
Did you have employees with you?
No, we had other people who owned other businesses with me.
Well,
So after we,
scary if they're
Yeah,
employees
acted
because
like
then I
a-
was like, literally, we flipped an ATV or something with an employee, and then I was like, oh shit.
no, other members of a revolt group that I'm
Yeah.
involved
Oh.
with were with me. And so we're doing our thing. Somebody flipped it. We crawled out. We laughed. Yee-ha-ha. We needed help to flip it back over. And then I'm like, you're not driving anymore. So I start to drive. Well, something happened to the wheels when we flipped it. So typically you want to keep it in 2-wheel drive so you can blow donuts and fishtail and all those things. Well, it never came out of 4-wheel drive. And you don't want to try to do a donut in 4-wheel
no.
drive or all 4 of your tires are going to bite.
Yeah.
Right. So here I'm fishtailing going up and I try to do a sharp turn and blow some UEs, and we're in stones at this point in time. We're not even in the desert sand anymore. Well, it bit and we flipped it. And I mean, it flipped hard. And
Oh.
as I'm crawling out and watching everyone else crawl out, I thought that was really stupid and very irresponsible of me to act like that.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it was great, fun, but I had to go see the chiropractor after
Oh,
we got
no.
Oh,
back.
damn.
Dude, but it was so much fun. But this is the thing that I think as we're getting older, we don't think about. I don't want to say this in a selfish way, but other people You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, one time I was on the highway with my buddy Matt, and he's from Texas.
Mhm.
And there's very slick ice, just like there is out right now. But I was in Minneapolis, and he was not used to ice, like right. And I just in the middle of the highway, I just whipped the e-brake, and I did a complete 180,
Yeah.
and then just kept on driving.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, you do that often? When it's down here? I was like, no, not normally. This is special for you.
Yeah. Right. Well, see, I think you know what it is. We don't think about the consequences.
Yeah.
Right. We think about how cool we are
exactly
doing this, and then it's like as we get older, like
I'm older now. I would never do that now.
It's
Mom.
like, gee,
I don't know.
and we are responsible for these people's lives that are in this vehicle, ATV,
Sure.
or whatever other motor vehicle that we are operating right now. And it's, you know, and to your point, like, you know, now we have families, so it's not about.
I don't want to die.
It's not about us anymore.
Mhm.
It really isn't about us anymore.
My brain
Yeah.
might be a little bit different because I've never had that switch of I should flip this ATV and just see
really?
what happens.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Maybe it's
She,
my,
like,
my
wants-
dumb girl brain, but that's
Stop.
just never. I've never had that switch.
Oh,
I've never
we
had
want to
that thought.
survive all the time.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to flip this ATV and just crawl
like
on
a-
out.
Oh, I don't want to take 180 in the middle of the highway.
You sound like your life is really boring.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe I've just not lived, but at least
yeah.
I'm still alive.
That's true. So are we.
That's true.
And
you
we're
have made it.
stronger.
I mean,
you have made it
We are
this far.
stronger
But we-
for it.
But we probably know quite a few people
Yeah.
in our circles.
Yeah. That hasn't made it,
Yeah.
or for sure.
That's probably part of it. We're
Yes.
we're a statistic that's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
alive.
We were chosen, I believe,
Yeah.
and our, you know, because we have a purpose,
Yes.
and that we do not want to take for granted,
I agree 100%.
you know,
And now we are smarter
Yes.
because we experienced
totally
so much.
yes, we had to
consequences.
experience everything to be where we're at, but it made us smarter.
I hope so.
I've just been
Yes.
smarter, but now you guys are there with
Yeah,
me.
some
Boys-
people
Happy-
some people
boys-
can learn
Happy
from
that
other
you're there
people.
with me
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Some people have to learn for themselves.
Boys are dumb.
Yeah, there you go.
know?
That's a good
I
way to
do
say
not
it.
disagree with
Yeah.
that.
But anyhow, so I'm sure you had some time to think about what you wanted to actually discuss while we were on here. So what is that? Like,
He's looking at me.
yeah. Like, I'm sure you were probably
Hey.
wide awake all night long, like it was Christmas
know.
morning. I'm getting ready to
Just
be on the
waiting.
Beyond
I've
the
been
ToolBelt.
standing out here waiting, just watching every other interview. Like, when is my turn?
Yeah.
I have something I'd like to talk
Okay.
about that roofing
Take it away.
folks might be interested in. I think that there's a difference between marketing, storm restoration, prominent companies, and retail focused companies. And I want to talk a little bit about the differences between
Okay.
those two.
That's a great topic.
What percentage storm are you guys, for instance?
2%.
2%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like ultimately marketing tends to be a little bit more
Yeah.
important for a
Huge.
98% retail.
Huge. We
roofing
rely
company.
on other sources other than ourselves, I guess, knocking doors and whatever other resources that in a storm market have.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is like folks that go beyond that like 70, 80% storm, I know when I'm talking to them, because we've had so many sales conversations. Hook Agency gets a lot of inbound leads,
Mhm.
and we don't even know how to go out and look for. So Sydney tends to be a farmer, not a hunter, right?
Mm.
Like, and
Okay.
so it's a good thing. It's a
It's
good thing.
lucky for me.
Yes, lucky. She's a lucky girl. But there's an element of this 60, 70, 80% storm focused roofer
hmm
is not going to be aggressive about their marketing on average because,
Mm.
and I'll kind of give the quick math that I see real quick is like, you've got canvassers, right?
hmm
You got canvassers, you got people out and about knocking on doors, and God love them. That's hard work and a lot of, sweat, and it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful that you're able to get business that way. And it's so direct. And
Yes.
so for me, that's the number one lead
I
generation
think so
strategy
too.
in roofing. And it's beautiful. And
Mhm.
some folks don't do it, but I think you should at least do it around jobs. I call it the 12 pack,
Mhm.
right around the job. You should
Mhm.
at least do that. I believe that, have really good job site branding, catch all, et cetera, all that.
Oh, yeah.
I love stuff like that. Good truck wraps, yard signs, all this stuff. But your marketing budget is essentially wrapped up in canvassers, from what I can tell. So
Mhm.
folks that are doing this, and I've had this like twice in the last week or so, where somebody is talking to me, a roofer is saying, I am predominantly storm, 70, 80%. I want to make that switch. I want to give my sales guys leads, warm leads, because it's like a present.
Yeah.
But what I'm realizing is it's not really easy to make that switch. If you want to make the switch from storm to more retail, to go to like, instead of 20-30% retail to be 70% retail, it's a really hard switch because the directness of door to door and the ability to almost not make a sale, to essentially just present, you could get a free roof, is a very hard to switch over to. I'm going to go to this lead from Google, talk to them, and maybe sell them a full roof at retail cost, or even switch it into storm. But just that switch is like, because you're spending so much time, effort, and essentially money on canvassers. So I'm not mad at it. It's just ultimately I've noticed there really is a distinction between that predominantly storm roofing company and that retail roofing company. And I am not able to make the switch. Like I'm not able to flip companies on average.
Well, you know, this is a great topic because I honestly believe right now we're at a pivotal change in the roofing industry. And whether you're a storm chaser or in the retail space, I believe right now is where you need to start implementing both, right? Like, so if I'm a retail guy, which we are, and we have recently adopted Lead Scout, which now what that is, it's a canvassing app, correct? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our lead babies out of the truck and canvass the areas, right? So we're trying.
I love making lead babies, by the way.
Right. So yeah, so do I. You know what I mean? But we're sitting around now waiting for the phone, right? Well, why are we not going out to them? Is what we're trying to get there, to have a
lead babies really do tend to not try very hard on the other activities around it because they're just so used to those fresh warm leads.
And same in the storm industry, right? So I think you should start implementing some sort of marketing and branding and presence, because who knows what's going on with the insurance game right now? Who knows if another storm's going to come through? And I just feel like if you want to stay relevant, at least for the next 12 months, right? Because I think there's going to be some turbulence over the next 12 months, right? Like, and everyone right now is
insurance
talking about
companies tightening up. Is that part of what you're
I
talking
think
about?
so.
The economy.
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I'm speaking of both. And I feel like that's why I think regardless of what industry, part of the industry that you're in, whether it be storm restoration, door knocking, or the retail space, I think you need to start adopting both forms, both processes between canvassing and retail. So storm chasers need to start adopting the retail form of marketing. And I feel like us lead babies need to start adopting the form of door knocking if we're going to be relevant for the next 12 months due to the turbulence of the economy, right? Because everyone right now is talking about 3 to 5 years right now. Well, yes, 3 to 5 years as a visionary. Yes, I'm concerned about it, but how are we going to stay relevant over the next 12 months? Because right now this is the problem. This is where everyone's gotten so comfortable. You could be a shitty entrepreneur over the past 36 months, over the past 3 years, and be successful. But where the true rubber is going to meet the road, the pandemic's over. Okay. The home service industry as a whole.
I'm glad that you just announced that for the first time here on the show. The pandemic is officially over.
Yeah, the pandemic is officially fucking over.
I always wanted
36 months ago. Okay?
I wanted somebody to do that for the last recession, because they never did. They never announced it was over.
Yeah.
And I like 2014 or something popped. I'm like, it's over.
You could be a shitty,
We're out of the recession.
Let's think about this for a minute. You could be a shitty marketer, a shitty entrepreneur, a shitty financial person within your business, right? And still remain relevant because you didn't have to market. The phone was ringing. There just wasn't enough contractors, right? But I feel like over the next 12 months, we're getting a cleansing, a correction, or however you want to explain that. So I feel like if you're not adopting other forms of lead gen, branding, or marketing, and my belief is, unfortunately, we've started to own a lot of the market share when it comes to branding in our local areas. We started that a while ago. We've been talking about recession for the past 36 months, right before the pandemic broke out. Unfortunately, I think we don't own the market, but we feel like we own the market, which is a good attitude to have going into what we're getting ready to, because it's almost like an SEO, right? Like you needed to start it 36 months ago in order for it to come to fruition now.
Yep.
Right. So it's like planting a tree. When do you plant a tree? Today and 20 years ago.
I'd be curious to hear
Kinda
Sydnee's
concept.
take on this, and we do need to ask.
Yeah,
her
and
some
I feel like I
questions.
could keep going on and on and
Yeah.
on about
I want
things.
to hear, like, if you were to try to make the transition to some more retail, some heavier digital marketing when you've traditionally relied on canvassing and things like that. Do you have any perspective, like, or thoughts on when you would try to do that? Because, like, you do that when there's no storm, you don't have money.
Yeah.
If you're a storm guy.
Well, I think I definitely agree on you should know how to do both, because you're missing market share
Mhm.
on either of them. If you're not going out and chasing any of those insurance jobs, you're missing out on them. If you're not on the internet, you're missing out on all those people. So I think that, like, obviously the more that you can do, the more places that you can be, the more market share you can have, because more people know about you. But in terms of, like, I think people can fall back on insurance a lot, and exactly kind of like Tim said, when you're presenting options, you're not necessarily trying to close that deal right away, and not always trying to flip a lead into an insurance if they're calling about retail. So kind of like you were just saying, the earlier that you can try and make these shifts, the better. But just like doing more sales training, teaching your sales reps how to sell a retail job, and having that in the back of your mind. Some people in some markets don't even want to go down the insurance route. If they want to buy a roof, let them buy a roof.
Absolutely not. Do not try to come around here with your cash money. We only want insurance proceeds.
Right. But some people, California, we've got some clients in California, and they talk about it all the time. They're like, people save up for their roof. They're ready to do it. They've got this money in their pocket, or financing is always an option too. But if they want to talk retail, talk retail.
Yeah.
Know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And you could have separate guys too. You could have the retail guys and the insurance guys. I mean, insurance, that's
Or
a
gals.
lot. That's or gals. God damn it. Excuse me. We love women in roofing sales. And I honestly believe more and more people, like, who are you? No offense. No one's mad at me for saying that a gentleman would be happy to have a woman to come in and sell them a roof, or your ideal customer who happen to be a 47-year-old housewife is going to feel more comfortable having a female in your house. So I do think that it's like, and what do we think? Women can't sell?
I think women can sell.
Yeah.
Sydnee sells a lot.
Yeah, I do too. No, I think anyone can be a great salesperson. You know, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Does a woman have better characteristics than a man? I think they do.
There's some
Unfortunately,
warmness.
we were just talking, I think, earlier before we went live on how dumb boys are.
That's true.
Right? Like, girls are more organized.
But I don't want to inflame
their
the like
presentations
anger, like
are
a
probably better.
roofing
Do you know
salesman.
what I mean?
Like,
And I wouldn't be dumb enough to think that, yeah, you could probably sell more roofs than me once you were educated on what it was that you were selling. You and probably freaking kill it, right? Compared to me, because I'm like all rammy and jammy here, sign here. Now. And you would know
she's
how
relationship focused.
So yeah, to probably, yes, exactly. Like, build that relationship, build that rapport, and nourish that relationship, and take your time more with it. Me, where I'm like, no, like the 2-pump jump. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah, no, exactly.
That's me.
And I'll just say also, like, I've learned a lot from her on that side as far as like creating that relationship. It's very good for a lot of different things. And basically I take a lot of like tips from the way she sells. And she wasn't a salesperson. She literally just got into this a year ago. And she's $1 million producer for our business.
No doubt. I believe that.
And ultimately, to me, that's like, what do you think? Let me ask you, because I got compliments for days for you as your ability to sell.
I don't ever hate hearing them, but
and I know that there's a lot of roofing sales women out there that are crushing it already. So it's not like we're like introducing this. It's just like, open up your job force to the other half of the population that's just ready to sell. If you just stop thinking about it like you have been thinking about it for the last 20 years, like, just open it up. Just have one roofing sales woman soon, and then start opening up when they start closing a bunch of business.
Yeah. Well, I was just listening to here, we're at SRC, and I was listening to the women in roofing panel, and they had some of that discussion around like some women sales people, which I think everybody has a different sales style, right? But generally women have like a softer approach of
Yes.
it's not that like sign here, sign right now. It's like, let's talk about this. Let's educate you. Let's like figure out what you need, which is all sales is, figuring out what do you need? How can I give you what you need? What's your problem? How can I solve that problem? And just like, I mean, I think generally women are better listeners as well.
I was just getting ready to
So
say
being
that.
able to hear,
I can't even hear that
and
right
that's
now.
something that like I'm lucky enough to have been complimented on a lot in my sales process is like I felt like you heard my problems and you like understood them, and just really taking the time to hear what the homeowner needs. I don't sell to homeowners, of course, but in that sales process of just taking the time to
Mhm.
listen to them. And I think women can have that approach a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, no doubt. I believe that as well.
And some men, I'm sure, have that
Yeah.
approach a little bit
No,
more
I'm sure.
naturally too.
Yes, I'm sure. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, no, ultimately it's just like learning if we think there's a difference between men and women, like if the learning from what those are, like if there is strengths. And I certainly believe that there is a lot of strengths, and I certainly believe I believe listening is one of them. I see a lot
Yes.
of strengths in you, but you know, ultimately to me it's just opening up that other half of the population.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about how there's not enough people, right? In skilled trades and in stuff around
Yes.
this, right?
Yes.
There's not enough people, but you're not looking at half the population sometimes.
Right.
And that's where I think if it was just a little different, we
Yeah.
open it up.
One thing I loved that someone said on the panel, I can't remember who it was, but it was ask everybody who's in your office if they want to get up on a roof. The person answering your phones, maybe the people that are just like doing some more of the coordination in the office, ask them, do you want to get up on a roof? Give them that opportunity.
Mhm.
And then they could turn into either a salesperson, they could turn
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
a service person. But I thought it was really cool. They're like somebody who we literally just asked in the office who never even thought about it is
Mhm.
now in our like service division.
Yeah.
Ty did not know that this was going to end up being like a
Women in
hardcore
roofing.
feminist rant.
No. That's cool. Well, we never know where the topic or discussion is going to go, and that's
I'm
what's
just
the
joking
beautiful
about
thing. That's what the beautiful thing is. So, let me make sure I understand what you were just saying. So, basically, at your office, or you were?
No,
in,
it was someone on the panel who
Okay.
is in a roofing company.
Okay.
So they said they just gave the opportunity to anybody in their office. Hey, if you're interested in this, let me know. We'll send you out with a salesperson. We'll send you out with the team.
Okay.
And so you can at least see what it's like to be up on that roof.
Yeah.
And if that's something that you potentially want to try more and move into,
Yeah.
we'll give you that opportunity.
I like that. I like that. So you can look at that in a couple different lights where, okay, that the leadership or whoever made that decision to ask people was willing to embrace somebody's, curiosity
Mhm.
or maybe their interest, right? So whatever company that is, that to me sounds like that their leadership team is on point, right? To be
Mhm.
able to ask that, right? And to be able to embrace somebody and or recruiting from within before reaching from the outside
Yes.
Yeah.
in. Do you know what I
I
mean?
love
So
that type of stuff.
yeah, so that's those were the couple of things that I was thinking when
Yeah.
you said that. I was like, okay, that's cool.
And even if they get up on that roof, they're like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to
Yeah,
do it. It
giving them
gives
the
you
opportunity.
perspective and it's going to help you be better at your job.
Yeah.
Like I want to roof a house
Mhm.
for whoever is out there that wants to let me roof a house. I'm here, I'm doing it. But I feel like it gives me better perspective. It helps me talk to roofers.
Mhm.
And if they can then have that perspective, it's going to make them better at whatever job they're doing too.
And help build that respect rapport, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of times too there's a disconnect between production and admin,
For
right?
sure.
Like I work harder than you, so yeah, get up on this roof with us for a minute and see what it, cold, hot, heat, and you're
Yep.
sitting in the air conditioning all day. That's what they're thinking
Yep.
production wise.
Mhm.
And then maybe
But that guy doesn't want to sit on that phone either.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
right.
I'd rather be out on that roof.
I've been on both sides of
Yeah.
it, and I couldn't tell you what's more draining.
Yeah.
Other than maybe when I'm on a roof, there's not much I have to think about, but physically that's
Yeah.
draining, right?
Yes.
Being in the office part of it, which I don't really enjoy that much, is definitely mentally draining. So for us, we can feel that part of it. But somebody like, and I was just sitting here thinking like Ashley, and this is the cool thing too. It's like there's like people have like all of these hidden talents that they may or may not know that they even have. And
Mhm.
same with like the management and leadership department, they may not even know because it wasn't on their resume. And we've found that before too, right? And having your ears wide open and listening to other people's suggestions. Like Mike Ippy, he's one. This dude is like a wealth of knowledge. Like it doesn't even matter. And sometimes, and I'll admit it's kind of annoying, but if I embrace his ideas, like we've already, like our processes I thought were good until this dude was like, he started to like dig around. Like he came from JP, but he is a process kind of guy, oriented person. So it doesn't matter whether our files are going from these videos. What else? I mean, he has done so much, and I feel like I can't even throw enough at him. And he was hired to be our DOT, Mother Trucking Director of Technology. But the
Was
dude,
that Mother Trucking part of the title?
yeah, Mother Trucking is it? Mother Trucking DOT.
Is it for real?
Yeah.
Oh, he said it was on his business card. I feel like that'd be pretty sweet. I don't
It
think I
is.
was going to get offended. And it's
No, he's
Mother
the
Trucking DOT.
yeah, Director of Technology.
Gang.
But dude, that doesn't even begin there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for me
Yeah.
to be like, no, we're not ready for all that. No, it's run, go, get it, kid. You know what I mean? And that's a certain type of culture too. And it sounds like those people, whoever was speaking up there, that was something good for all of us to listen to in that panel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was
totally.
sitting in that room. If they're
Shout
at that
out
point,
SRC Summit.
yeah,
Gang.
If,
We're out here.
right, if they're at that level. I mean, now if you just got into business, that probably like totally went over your head.
Yeah. Well, and you can't necessarily, like, you don't have the space to lose that person to another position within the company because you need somebody there answering your phones or doing
there,
whatever
did
they were
that.
doing in admin.
Yes, that's why I
So
hired
it's
you. I need you to
scary.
answer the phone. I know you got all this talent and you're probably overqualified because I've done that, been there, and probably lost people because they were overqualified and they weren't challenged enough.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Right?
it's definitely scary on both sides. Like, do I do this and potentially lose them when they're really good at this job?
Mhm.
But I still get to retain them as an employee and move them into something that challenges them and that they could
We've done
kick
that
ass at.
so much and have grown so much because of that. If you can just let go,
Yeah.
let them do their thing. Yeah.
I love it. And I will say, just a note, like, as far as like strengths that I see from Sydney on sales and that I'm
By the
learning
way, I'm
from.
trying to get you a promotion.
I like it.
Thank you.
What I see is like that relational quality, right? Of
Mhm.
any salesperson.
Yeah.
Dan Walrick, I'm about to chat with him a little bit more later today. $18 million sales producer,
Unbelievable.
incredibly relational. So it's not just women, but
No.
this mindset that comes a little bit naturally, sometimes a little bit more to women for whatever reason, that they're a little bit like, can we agree that they're a little bit more like developed on like this like social aspect sometimes?
Mhm.
Mm.
Like what it is like, you don't just want this sale. We're going to get like the 5 sales that are available with this person's network. So we're not just closing the deal. We're closing the deal and they feel really good about it and want to introduce us to their friends.
Love that.
Right? Like that's where we want to be.
Yeah, that's the best part.
And Dan was talking to me and it's like, he was showing a picture of like, he's doing like a neighborhood pitch. He said he's talking to a homeowner and the homeowner says, or he talks to the homeowner and says, get your neighbors at this pitch. So he has a picture of him with one homeowner and he's doing the talk to 7 other homeowners on a stoop. And he hands out contracts to all of them at the end of it. That's relational.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, I do have that question sometimes of a guy who's been door knocking. And dude, I'm challenging you, okay? A guy who's been door knocking for 3+ years. Why are you not just bleeding referrals out of your ears?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's where you should, like, basically, I think some people don't know that you can do that.
You want to know why? And it's a question that we've asked. That we were at door to door, and at the end of every podcast, I was asking a question like, when does the sale end? When is the sale over?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of salespeople know the answer to that question. Do you?
I don't
I
know.
was
If
like, now
it's
I don't
ever
know
over.
if I know.
Yeah, but I want to hear your answer.
Never.
Yeah.
It's never over. The sale is never over, right? Like if you're actually doing your job, taking your time, right? And building that relationship, building that rapport, right? Following up, following through, and making sure that entire experience, because the problem why they can't do it is because the sale is over once they collect that deposit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. MIA.
And they post the check on Facebook.
Yes. And then posted. That's the problem, unfortunately. And I think even me as younger being in the years ago in the industry, that if you would ask me that question, well, when I collect the deposit, the sale's over because I'm moving on to the next one. But unfortunately, it's not. Not if you want that compounding interest. And
Yeah.
that's what that dude has developed,
Yeah.
what I call compounding interest.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you got to take that time and nourish that relationship and follow through from beginning to end. And that's through the entire process. How our presentation is not just at the door when I knock on your door, but the presentation while the job is going on. Do you have an equipter? Do you have a catch-all? Do you have all of these things to capture the eyes of the neighbor, to make sure that that homeowner's home is being taken care of as if it was yours? And if you can't because you don't take care of your shit, then take care of it like it's mine. Right? Because a lot of people, when you tell them to like take care of this like it's yours, have you looked at their home or inside their vehicle lately? So you can't use that analogy with them, but look at my truck, look inside my truck. So treat it like it's my truck.
Ooh, I like that.
Or house. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that, and so we're not even done yet. Right? We're just building the job. Sales not done yet. Right? So now we got to complete the job, get the job built, right? Get everything cleaned up. Sales still not over yet, kids, right? Did the salesperson go out there with a magnet, right? Go out with a magnet. Don't even call the homeowner up yet, because don't be all like, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to take the final invoice with me and I'm going to take my magnet with me, right? Because I'm going to collect my final check, because now you're thinking the sale's already over, not even fucking remotely close, kids. Okay. So you got to go out there and you got to make sure the eyes even be out there while the job's being built. Let the homeowner know you were there. Let them see your face. Right. So then they know that you just didn't grab my check and run. Right. Because if you want that compounding interest, if you want that person, you shouldn't have to necessarily do the 12-pack, because they're your biggest cheerleader now. Right. So now we're building the job. We get everything cleaned up. We go out there and you call them up and say, hey, you have a time that we can meet so I can come out to make sure everything was done correctly. Like, let's go out here and make sure everything is done correctly. Right. Then you go out there, you walk the project with the homeowner. They're fine with everything. They sign off. They're like, oh my God, this experience was so great. Thank you for the communication. And honestly, 90% of that was probably the communication through the entire project, whether there was a change order, no change order, just checking in the morning before. Hey, shingles are being delivered in the morning. I want you to know the guys are going to be there at 7:30. Like we discussed on the pre-project planning, right, meeting that we had a week ago. Make sure your car's out of the driveway at 7 o'clock. Make sure you got those plants pulled off the porch. Make sure you take down whatever pictures you don't want to get smashed that are going to fall off the wall, because the whole house is going to be shaking when the guys show up, because it's going to sound like we're a bunch of elephants up there. Yep. Thank you for calling and thank you for reminding me. Right. So then, right, because the communication has been good, and that's where we all struggle in sales. You know what I mean? Is the communication factor of it. And we all think the sale is over once I collect the deposit. Now, we built the job, job's over, everybody's happy, everybody got the final check. Week later, call them up. How is everything? I was thinking about you. I was in your neighborhood the other day. I looked up at the roof. I thought it was fantastic. You chose a great color. It really makes your shutters pop against that brick.
Making the homeowner the hero. I like
right? Those shingles just, wow. I was questioning it. I didn't want to say anything, but God dang, they look phenomenal. You know what I mean? No, everything's great. Now, you still have my number, right? Yep, got it on speed dial. If you ever have any issues or need anything else, please do not hesitate to call me, right?
This guy's got to be drowning in referrals if he does this every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
right. All you got to
drowning.
do is run 2 or 3 leads a week.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not the quantity, it's the quality. It's the quality. Everyone's like, oh, I got to run 15 leads a day.
So maybe it's okay.
And guess what? You're only closing 2 of them because you're not following up with any of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay if you have lead babies as long as they create referrals for themselves.
Yeah, when that's what we're trying to develop.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because that's what we give you 1, bring 5 back.
I love that. And I think ultimately, like,
Or you're fired.
I think that's
No, I'm just kidding.
exactly. I feel like that's your mindset a little bit too, like the play through the sale though too thing. Like it's not just about that one company. Like, and part of that is saying for us, I don't know if this transfers over to roofing, but part of it plays to like, we don't let them sign a contract or give them a contract if it's an iffy fit. You know what I mean? It's actually like not giving them a contract in those scenarios. And honestly, we out of like even somewhat qualified, like I guess qualified is the question.
Yeah.
But like out of a lot of our leads, we do not give them a proposal. And I know that that's not always transfers over to roofing, but I think like that's our mindset about sales. And I think it does matter in roofing. Like if it's
Well, I think I
Yeah.
hear from a lot of salespeople that they know, like, this is going to be a difficult homeowner. This is
Mhm.
going to be something that is going to be really hard for our team, our production team, whatever. Like, you feel that in the beginning,
Mhm.
and not to like plug in all
Oh,
the
yeah.
marketing stuff, but the more leads you have, the more picky that you can be.
Of
So you don't
course.
have to sign
Yes.
that shitty homeowner.
That's
Yes.
what I tell our team. Like, I'm out here at this event, right?
Mhm.
It's spending time on something. We got a lot of business to take care of now. Like currently we have a lot of work to complete.
Mhm.
But I just tell our team, you know what? Here's what it is. First of all, I'm not on production or whatever. I'm not in service operations, so I'm not going to be doing the work for you anyways.
Right.
But I tell our team just so they know, like, this is important because we want to be swimming in leads.
Mhm.
We want to be swimming in leads. And if
course.
you're not swimming in leads, you're not selective, then you're going to sign bad shit. And bad shit is really unprofitable. And bad shit is really going to it's going to negatively affect the team morale. So we need to be swimming in leads.
Yeah.
And I think like ultimately, if you're not, you got to go harder.
Listen,
until you can
we've
be
done
super
that.
selective.
We've done that already, right? And what happens is your closing ratio goes from 50 to 25% closing ratio because there's not enough time in the day, especially if you don't have enough salespeople. Let me rewind a little bit. We didn't have enough salespeople, so our salespeople were running 5 to 7 leads a day. Dude, we got that's when. If you look at our Google reviews and if you go backdated, you'll see that's when we got our most ever negative reviews was like just poor follow-up, communication.
I just
Every
want to note
single
too,
one of them.
The close rate on qualified leads or just close rate on one thing I want to know, and we might have a difference of opinion here. That's okay.
Question.
But so
That's fair.
we have leads and then qualified leads in our internally, and we only do the close rate. Really, we only focus on the close rate for qualified leads.
Okay. Now, what are you
Consider
qualifying as a qualified lead?
Yeah, really, it's like, do they do like for us? I'll just give ours.
Like if
I
they
don't know if it
call and we
transfers.
send them out to the appointment, or are you talking?
No, ours. Sorry, it's for marketing in our case.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just saying, like for us, it's like, are they really in the market with a budget that would make sense for our services?
Okay.
And then like, what else is our qualified component? Like, how else do we?
Yeah, I think like, can we take them? Can they work with? Like, do they want to work with us?
Yeah.
When we tell them,
because we only take like one for 500,000 people, so like
to be able to filter out the tire kickers.
Yeah,
kind of.
Some of them get through.
Yeah,
but essentially making sure it's not like someone who calls and says, "Hey, I want a $1 website."
Yeah,
you know, that's not going to be anyone.
Yeah, I mean, if they see we're in retail, right?
Yeah,
and we're not doing B2B.
Yeah.
So when they call, we're not knocking doors.
Yeah.
So we're I guess
call that qualified.
Yeah, if they're calling us and they're saying, "Hey, my roof is leaking." Yeah, that's a qualified lead.
So marketers get really weird about this qualified lead thing. Like, it is a good discussion, I think.
Yeah, no,
even in roofing.
totally.
Like, and I think one thing to note is like, I really believe in like not hyper focusing on close rate too much. Personally, I believe that because I think like what it does also is like we only want to create the perfect leads.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's ideal. And I don't think like ultimately like I also want you to put out proposals when it's a good fit, no matter what. If you over focus on some of those like percentage numbers, ultimately what I want is an increase in closed deals. That's all I want. I want an increase in closed deals where it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes some of these numbers, I think people hyper focus on like a close rate or something like that.
Well, no. Okay. So yes, I can see where maybe I've become a little obsessed with closing ratio, but my point is that I felt like we were overloading our salespeople with too many leads, which then lowered the closing ratio because of poor communication and
if there's like a maximum, you can do 4 deals.
And try to find that sweet spot. So what we needed, because I was concerned that I wanted to make sure everybody was getting enough leads. But then what happened was I was over inundating them with too many leads. And I'm like, because I know me, not everyone's built like I'll run 7 leads a day. My bandwidth is a little more, and my tolerance for pain is much higher. and you know, this goes back to personal. My family suffered from it too. You know, I didn't didn't even look at that part of it either. But now I do as an entrepreneur, going back to like good leadership and not to be all over the place with our topic here, but we needed more salespeople. So then the close, because you can spend more quality time with that customer, you know, building that rapport and that relationship. So it turns into a referral network. That one individual. Yeah.
Basically, I'm just curious, like in that case, were you ever over indexing on a lead source that was low quality leads? Like, were you purchasing leads from the list?
We never.
In that case, it was mostly referrals, or what other types of leads?
Okay, so I've been in the business a long time. So I would say at least at this point in time, 25% of our leads are existing clients that I probably installed something myself personally. So that was a difficult transition for them and myself. Different topic, totally different podcast there. So let's say that, and then referrals from what the team has built. So 50% is probably referral, right? And then the other 50% is Google, Facebook ads. But I would honestly say, and this is where our budget is 70% branding and 30% marketing. And all together, we spent about 2.4% gross profit on all of that.
I just want to note about, like, let's say you're going too hard. Like in that case, you could hire another salesperson, or you could also say, all right, maybe we don't need, like, if you're looking at the lead quality on Facebook ads, for instance, and you're realizing like we're getting, because we did Facebook ads really hardcore for a little while, and Sydnee she has a pretty good close rate. It's like 17%. And that's, you know, we're pretty stringent in certain things.
Yeah.
Like
17%.
Okay, that's pretty good. Like for us, it's good. We don't need
really.
Yeah,
we get a lot of leads too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we get to be
Then maybe you need to like create 4 more Sydnees.
Yeah, we
so then if you get all of those leads that are coming in, then not that you're not spending enough time with those people. And 17 in your industry might be great, but how much are you spending? See, and that's what I looked at. How much money were we spending to make that phone ring? Let's say it was $50.
Yeah.
Right. And we have 10 salespeople, and I'm giving them 5 leads a day. Right. So at $50 times 10, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I can't do the math off the top of my head. So let's say it's $5,000 a day to make that phone ring, and we're losing 75% of them leads. That's the ratio I look at.
And I'm just saying, like in that case, turn down.
You know what I'm saying?
Turn down the spend on the shitty lead sources.
But we don't get shitty leads.
Yeah. So I'm saying essentially,
like we do, because we have a repair. I mean, so what do you consider a shitty? Like we do repairs, but then again, that goes back to that compounding interest. That $150 service call that we just did turns into $150,000 worth of referrals in a month's time.
Yeah, in our case, it was just like we looked at the quality of these, and like there's tons of
you turned me down, so that means your vetting process is shit. Yeah. No, I'm just busting your balls.
No,
but I respect why you did.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to go with somebody that did what we spoke about.
Yeah, ultimately, like we love you, and like I know, like having too many roofers in one area is what I watch.
No, yes, I love that. Total respect.
I mean, like, just to note, we spent a lot of money on Facebook ads, and just noting, like, there are people that over focus on that lead number, and we even see it in like, let's say, even Google ads, where it's like they're just like crank up the in nerd speak for a second, but like broad match keywords, like you're showing up for stuff like rooftop bar and Home Depot shingles, like these are not really good leads.
Yeah.
Like, so somebody will kind of like over index on that lead number and accidentally just, if you don't look at your close rate on certain things, you don't. And I mean, like, I'm saying like close deals out of total leads. I'm not saying like each one, you know, too focused, but I'm saying like those types of things where you need to cut out the bad lead sources or the bad lead methods, like a broad match keyword in Google, like Google ads. And Google, one PSA real quick for the roofers watching this: don't do the auto like Google ads stuff. Like it's like, let us take over and just run it by the robot.
You have to turn it off. Actually,
turn it off. Like go into your settings, look for things that say auto apply suggestions. Turn it off now. It's terrible, and they'll overspend in really bad areas because Google just has ad inventory that they need to get rid of. And
Yeah.
they'll get rid of it in the worst possible ways. And they don't care about your close rate. They also know that some people are
It's a good
just
nugget.
looking at lead quantity.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
basically watch out for just hyper focusing on lead quantity.
Yeah.
You have to look at like, how many deals did we close from this? And ultimately when you do that, it allows you to focus on the right types of lead gen.
Yeah. No. And I mean, I guess it's not a good problem to have, is making that phone ring and you're spending all of this money to get shit leads. Now we have done programs that we had found that didn't work, but we're able to identify it quickly because of tracking numbers or QR codes or however we were using that to funnel it to us. Right. And I would tell you one thing that we had to turn down a little bit is we were running a lot of ads in the newspaper. And I know a lot of people think the newspaper is dead. What we had noticed, if we were going to receive a tire kicker call, is what we kind of call it in our industry, is because from older people. And that's why we targeted that, because Facebook is for the younger generation and direct mail, and newspaper is still trying to target those people that may not have Facebook or,
I don't know, there's some pretty old people on Facebook now, bro.
No, there is.
There's a lot of homeowners on Facebook. And
no, there is.
Ultimately, there's more homeowners on TikTok and Instagram now. I'm just going to throw all that out there.
Yeah. No.
We own
And I
homes,
get that.
millennials.
I get that. But like you were
I'm like
talking
an
about
elderly
earlier, there's a whole
millennial.
other market of people that we didn't want to miss.
Yeah.
Right. And because, but they have nothing to do but call these phone numbers sometimes that are in the newspaper. And I don't know if it's because they just wanted to have a conversation with somebody. Like they really didn't even need anything, but we would go out there and maybe like an inspection or, hey, it looks like you guys do roof. Do you mind? And not that, and believe me, we do that all the time. And what we've been able to do because of things like that is create a database. Like, no, you're not ready for a roof now, but 3 years from now, database.
Yep.
Right. Goes into the data bank there. But
it's good that
that's
you know.
great,
it's good that you know. I
Yeah.
was getting tire kickers when I had this lead gen strategy. It's just knowing when you're creating tire kicker strategies and not being like, well, I said I had my goal for like, for instance, I'm the marketer for our company. So I'm like, I'm a craftsman at this currently, and I need to hire somebody for it.
Yeah.
As a CEO with 24 people to lead or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I was over indexing on that number, that lead number.
No
200 leads. Tim's got to create 200 leads somehow.
Yeah.
This quarter. But now we switched it up, in our case,
Qualified.
to qualified leads.
That's cool.
So
So then
ultimately,
maybe your closing ratio might go up. There's certain things that
probably will.
in each industry that we're in. Now you do focus mostly on roofing, but the way that you're marketing is different than the way that I'm marketing or targeting your marketing, maybe. You know what I mean?
Totally. It's all, to me, the number one question in marketing is, who is it for?
Yeah.
And it's not everybody, spoiler alert.
Right.
And if people don't know that, they overspend in a lot of weird areas. Like I was talking to a roofer in Colorado a few weeks ago, and he said, well, Colorado. And then we said, okay, well, he's like greater Denver area. Okay. And then he's like, okay, suburb. This particular suburb. I'm like, now we're getting onto something.
Yes.
He's like, all homeowners. Okay. All homeowners.
Yeah.
Really though? Like, where's your best close rate? Like, who do you get the most leads from? And it is useful, even if it is actually all homeowners, and I get it, to actually identify like one particular type of customer, because my ideal is that every single time you're writing marketing materials, you're thinking about that person, that one individual, because I think it's more useful. Like, if you're writing to one person, it sounds a little different. So deep into marketing here, excuse me, I'll wrap this thought up, which is every single Tuesday, I write a kind of a constructive piece of content on my Facebook to my ideal customer. I have one person in mind when I'm writing it.
For you or for your client?
I'm saying for me.
Okay.
But you could use this too. Like if you have Margaret, what's a 47-year-old person's name? Elizabeth.
Mark. Oh, Elizabeth.
I'm saying, like, I was going to go with female because I think of the 47-year-old female. Like, I'm going to every single week try, like, not every single time. Like, it's hard when you're doing it every single time you post, but I'm going to write something specifically for her, like a very useful little letter. It's like one thing about her exterior of her home and maintaining it and making a good decision about hiring contractors, and write it's a little love letter to your ideal customer every single week, and just do that one time a week, because it just conditions your mind to always be bringing it back to Elizabeth, the 47-year-old female homeowner with 2 kids that I'm identified as my ideal customer. And I'm doing that by my close rate and knowing like, these are the people that I've found the best luck with when I'm closing. Like they like it. They're a professional and they want professionals to handle it, or whoever it happens to be.
Yeah.
I think that's a useful exercise, like a weekly exercise personally.
Okay.
In marketing.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody describe doing something like that before. That's pretty deep shit right there. Like really getting granular on, between percentage of closing ratio, like, so we get all of these other people, but we don't really kind of close those jobs, but
at the same rate.
Yeah. Right. But a 42-year-old single mom, 2 kids, professional, 2 cars in the garage, whatever.
And you're not like saying, hey, Elizabeth, like,
no.
like it's implied that it feels like you're talking to, like when you focus on them, it feels like you're talking to one person, but it doesn't like not hit the other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It like, it just feels stickier, because like when you're really focused on one person and their problems, like it feels more persuasive. And that's just copywriting. I believe copywriting is like a huge thing. If you're trying to learn your own marketing, like really getting into copywriting and really understand, it's persuasive language. So really all that stuff, if you're a salesperson, if you're an owner that's been very good at sales or whatever, then you are probably going to be pretty good at copywriting if you just kind of write the way you speak.
Yeah.
Copywriting, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Copywriting is really just that, like, it's a little bit of a highfalutin way to say writing. But here's the deal. It's writing, but like intentionally to create a result. And in this case, the result we want, I'm going to wrap this up in 1 minute, but
I'm falling asleep over here. Dude.
Yeah, sorry. This is marketing
I have
nonsense.
such important things to say, but he won't let me
This
say
is
them.
how you sell a deal.
Like my mind went totally blank.
Yeah, perfect. All right. You know what? I'll cut to Sydnee. What do you got?
My important thing is bringing it back to the newspaper thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So to like wrap the two of what you were saying together of we were putting out and spending X amount of dollars on newspaper. We go back and look at what our close ratio is from newspaper and it's zero. It's zero.
Yeah.
We have never sold a roof to a 70-plus-year-old homeowner. So why are we spending all this money on these newspaper ads? Yeah, we're getting a lot of leads from them, but they're not our ideal customer. We're wasting our time on them, and we've never once sold a roof to this demographic.
Yes.
So like really narrowing in on who is my ideal customer, and then where are they? Are they spending time on social media because they're a little bit younger? Are they spending their time in these areas? Do they listen to the radio because they're in this demographic?
Yeah.
But figuring out like where are they spending their time, and then are they actually closing from those avenues?
Yeah, I like that. Now, with your software that you guys provide your contractors, will they be able to identify those things? Like, is there a platform or a portal that they can go into, or is it a spreadsheet that you share with them on a weekly, monthly basis?
Yes, to all of the above. So we don't necessarily use we use something called CallRail within all of our clients. So basically you mentioned like call
you don't have to be a
tracking.
client to use this. Is awesome.
Yes, you can use CallRail too, but it tracks those numbers like you mentioned as well. It records phone calls. You can use it as a sales tool, and then it tells you where they came from. So we do monthly reporting. You can always then go in and see where are those calls coming from, where are those forms coming from as well, and then talk to your strategist about it.
And the other cool thing about CallRail too is you can actually listen to the recordings.
Yeah.
Yes, training tool.
Yeah, as a training tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty badass tool.
Like I love putting like our person who answers the phone like a loop in their calendar every single Friday that they're supposed to listen to 3 calls and make notes to themselves about what they could improve.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I love it. Love it.
All right, I took up too much of this.
That's okay.
I apologize.
Is there a topic that you guys wanted to bring up that we didn't talk about?
No, except for if you're a growth mode roofer, you should work with Hook Agency.
For real.
True.
No, great people, or else their name wouldn't be back here for sure. Authenticity, genuine, transparent, just stand up guys, make results for the home improvement contractor. And I love what you guys do. I love the content that you do. I love the visibility, and that says a lot too about an entrepreneur or a business. You know, you're out there, you're putting yourself out there for the abuse if you were doing something wrong, right? Like, and that's same with us. I mean, we're consistently on social media, like, hey, this is what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? And we're here to take the abuse if we would do something wrong. But you know, that's why I feel like you're only as good as those that you surround yourself with. And I feel like that you guys are kind of in our outer circle. You know what I mean? Our immediate circle, obviously, is the 4 or 5 dudes that I run with on a weekly, daily basis. But you are definitely that guy that I've called when I've had questions about things, and you've always answered the phone. So I appreciate that. I wish that we could have worked together, but I do know why we haven't and can't, and that doesn't mean we won't. But there's other things that we can work on, and maybe you can help us with our Behind the ToolBelt website or something. I don't know, but I'm sure there's something else outside of that. You know what I mean? Maybe some other form of impact on the industry as a whole. Because I know we briefly talked about.
Like this show is making an impact on the industry. Like,
Absolutely.
I was just talking about, like, this is leveled up system. Like, we're at a show live right now, filming with a 3-camera system, and they got a gimbal that they can walk around with. Who else is doing that? I've seen like a bunch of media companies in roofing, and no one's going live on a 3 to 4 camera rig with, like, what is this, trussing?
Yeah, trussing
Back here, and like
there's a floor.
Beautiful lights. I think they keyed the cameras. Like,
Yes.
Come on, man. This is elevating roofing, just the show.
Yes.
And ultimately, like, all as we're trying to do, first of all, I think that roofing is maturing at a rapid rate with awesome, tons of awesome vendors that are coming in. And obviously the most important one being like growth-minded CEOs like yourself.
Thank you.
That are kind of elevating, and growth-minded sales reps.
You too.
And all the different things.
You too.
Yeah.
In Sydney.
And like, I love that. I love the modernization of roofing that's happening right now that I just like get to like be part of and ride the wave of. I'm not like, you're not making it happen. I'm not making it happen, but riding this wave and maybe like contributing a little bit to what's happening right now in the industry. And I like that.
Me too. Me too, man.
And having allies.
Yes, and for sure. Man, this is such a great, we were very fortunate to have like 3 back-to-back episodes, like of the people that you're talking about that are creating that wave that we're allowed to ride on, that they're allowing us to be a part of. And I really feel like, to put it in a nutshell, is I think our goal, whether we know it or not, but I'm going to sum it up for us and paint this picture, that we want to leave this industry better than it was when we found it. You know what I mean? I really feel like that's our core, one of our missions right now, that, we want this to be a better place and lose that stigma. And honestly, I've been really focusing on, especially after Jen's thing, what occurred to me is, I would really personally, if anything else comes out of the show, or whether any other time I might be able to get to speak on stage or whatever, if somebody wants to call and talk, but I would love to lose that statistic of most roofing businesses go out of business in 3 to 5 years. I would love to change that overall and keep it, because I think right now a lot of the speakers, and I'm not even trying to get on any other thing, but like, let's try to change that. What can we do? Like, really, what can we do to try to change that statistic or that percentage? What can we do? What can we be? How can we be more effective? What did we do early on that we're actually, some of us, if we're smart, are go back to the basics? We don't ever have to leave them. And again, I'm going back to the next 12 months. Some things are going to change. We don't know, but there's going to be changes. There's going to be what's called a transfer of wealth is what's about to happen, right? Some are going to get wealthier. Those that thought they were wealthy are going to lose that wealth to those that are going to become wealthier, or other businesses are just going to be formed. Those are the 3 possibilities that are going to happen over the next 12 months during the correction period that we're going to be in right now. I don't think it's going to be long-lived. I think it's going to be short-lived. I think interest rates are going to start going down. Eventually, will we see 2.47 again? Not to get off on a tangent. No, I don't think they're going to go below 5, 4.5 maybe. But I think it's going to be short-lived. I think people are going to get acclimated to that. part of it, but until the people start losing their jobs, inflation won't stop. Unfortunately,
There are a
there's
lot
still,
of jobs right now getting lost though, and like ultimately, like
that's why I'm
it's
saying,
weird
because when that
yeah.
happens, unfortunately, they're forcing that to happen. So then when people start losing their jobs, the feds start getting pressure. You got to lose. Okay, stop fucking around now. You got to start lowering the interest rate. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what someone makes a call. Okay, quit fucking around. You fucked this up enough. Let's get back to, you know, some sort of normalcy here. And that's what's going to happen. And
It's
honestly,
hard to, but I kind of root for a little bit of like, let's get it over with and go a
Yeah.
little bit hard. If it's going to be a recession, like,
and
let's
they
have a
did.
little
I
bit-
mean,
yeah.
they no, I don't think we've ever seen increased hikes as rapidly and as fast as we ever have.
But basically, what they're trying to avoid, and I don't mean to be like a Fed shill here.
Yeah.
Somebody said I was a cop with this haircut. I guess I'm a
You
Fed.
do kind of look like cop.
I'm a Fed.
Pig.
But basically, like,
Pig.
yeah, exactly. No, but I think that there's actually like, I'd rather them do that,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather them go hardcore.
Well,
like,
it needs to happen. We need the shelves stocked. We need an overabundance of shingles in the stockyard. Like, we need all of these things to happen. We need people to lose their job. So then there's more shingles for the shingle price to come down. Like, we need all of this to happen.
and you don't want it to be like the real worst part, like the 70s.
And I just use that as an example. But if
Yeah.
you anywhere, anything, we just need shit back on the
Like
shelves
10
and,
years
and too
recession,
much
that's
of
what
it
I was
in
trying to
back in
say.
the warehouse. You know, beyond that wall, I know there's more shit back there. Well, there for a second, whatever was on the shelf is all we got. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's no toilet paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we need an abundance of toilet paper and shingles and or whatever, eggs. You know what I mean? Like, whatever is over.
I heard eggs are $10 right now. Is that a real thing? Are eggs $10?
Yeah.
They had a breakfast this morning with
A
eggs
lot
out
of
there,
eggs.
Mhm.
and there was a lot of eggs, dude. Is this hotel balling?
They're balling.
Look how
Man.
many people are here. They can afford the eggs.
There were
Yeah.
so many eggs. I mean,
Well, and that's
I don't
where
normally eat eggs,
we
but I
take
put
things
some
for
on my plate
granted.
'cause
I
I'm
mean,
like,
we
I don't
really
wanna
take things for
lose
granted. And
this
we don't really
opportunity.
see. I mean, you'll go spend $10 because you need to feed your family, but you're not the one out there probably bitching, swiping your debit card and getting groceries. But there are a lot of people out there being affected by
I'm
inflation
not-
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're very fortunate.
Yes. No, I
You know?
agree.
Absolutely.
We
I
are.
don't mean to play down the recession. Ultimately, I just don't want a long one.
Dude, I love
know
your
what I mean?
ring.
What's that?
I just noticed that.
Thank you.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
that. Not to
it's-
change the
Where did
subject,
you
No,
but
find
yeah.
it, Tim?
but that's how spoiled you
Instagram.
are. Somebody or
It was
yourself
70
purchased
bucks.
a goddamn 24 karat gold.
Yeah, it's
Hook
$70.
ring.
I don't think it's 20. That'd be
An
pretty.
Instagram ad for a 24
It
karat
says
gold
hook
ring.
leads on there, and then on the inside it says hook better
What
leads.
does
It was
that-
only $70.
No, I believe you. I was just busting your balls.
He's
I love
telling
you
you it was
guys.
$70.
24
It was $7,000.
This guy's got a
70,000.
signet
Yeah,
ring,
right.
his logo on it, and
No, it's great.
pure gold.
That's cool, man. No, I really like it. I just really
Thank
like
you.
it. Yeah. Cool.
Trying to
But
make
no,
that hook recognizable in the industry.
hook. Yeah, and it is. Hopefully we can help with that, man. Hopefully this platform will get you out there and help other roofing contractors and or marketing companies or whatever. But this has been a phenomenal.
Yes, thank you. Sir.
Is there anything else?
Thank you. Hey, by the way,
I
because
didn't
you're-
cut you off and didn't
You did
finish.
not cut me off. I got my newspaper bid in, and that was my last
I had
Okay.
one more thing.
knowledge share.
You got 2.3 seconds.
Go,
I'm
go.
Just kidding.
I'm just kidding. No, I do appreciate. This is your third one today. I know this guy was like a little tired of these, and he's like, "Let's go."
Yeah, let's go. I never get tired of it. I just want to make sure mentally I can rap with you all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just kind of like, I think my brain's tired.
Like when
right
you
now.
stopped listening completely to Tim for a minute.
Yeah. Did you see me?
Yeah.
Could you see like that?
The nothing
blank-
behind the eyes.
Yeah.
Sydney does that like every 10 minutes. So
Mm.
it's okay.
If you just kind of start looking away, he gets it.
Yeah. Really? Maybe I should do that more often.
Yeah.
Now you know the trick.
no, everyone
Yeah.
knows the trick. Sydney.
Yeah. But no, thank you guys for rooting us on. I know that you guys are cheerleaders of
We
us.
are.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
are for you guys too as well. And again, that's that circle that we were just talking about. And Tim, thank you for always being available for me
Absolutely.
and Sydney and your team and everybody on your team. So this has been great. I don't know if we got anybody else lined up or not. Hopefully I can take at least a 5-minute piss break
And Ascend too.
and it's end. Yeah. Michael Stern, also a great dude in the industry. And Vic, thank you. Javi, Michael Nippaliti, that he's acquired the new nickname Nipple.
Nips.
Nips, Nipple.
Nipsey.
Yeah. Nippaliti. So he lost his man card this week.
Oh, yeah.
no.
And we're hazing him, and he loves it when I talk about this. So before the end of the show, he's got to run over to Walmart and he's got to get a Depends diaper, heat activated KY jelly,
He just walks out.
and the thickest broomstick handle that they have. But anyhow,
Is
that's
this
just
still live?
yeah. Yeah.
Nips, get
Yeah.
back here. He
Nips.
just runs off.
Yeah, he did.
Nips.
Yeah, he acted like he had to take a call. Motherfucker, you work for me, man. If I ain't calling you,
Get
you ain't
back
got to
in
run
here.
out of the room like
It's not
that.
that
Nips.
important.
Right?
Nipsey.
Where'd he go?
He's
We're
not
staying
coming
live
back.
till you come back.
He's
There he is.
busy on a call.
Oh,
Sam.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Liar. Anyhow, all right. We love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You never
And
know
thank
what
you.
we're going to
Thank
say
you.
here on Behind the Tool Belt. So tune in every week,
Yes,
Wednesday.
please. Thank you.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. Bang, bang.